In this episode, I leave the Solomon Islands solo on my 27-foot boat heading towards Australia. On the passage, I face a big decision. Do I stop over in the Louisades to wait for better weather that may never come, or do I forge on into 35-knot winds and 4-meter seas? I'm breaking my no coffee at sea rule in favor of enjoying today because I think it's going to be the only nice day of the next 6.5, 7 days of this passage. And I don't want to go out in that. Out we go into the storm. My alarm clock this morning was a giant wave crashing over my entire boat. This is the really intense part. Waves are building, they're starting to break now, and I'm not really sure how much worse it's gonna get. I almost hit a ship, and the scary thing is that my AIS alarm did not go off. I've been waiting for a weather window to leave the Solomon Islands for Australia for the past 2 weeks now, and what I'm starting to realize is that there isn't going to be one because I'm trying to leave too early in the season. Right now it's September 20th, and most people don't start leaving for Australia until beginning of October because that's when everything starts to calm down a little bit. I, however, have a plane ticket already purchased to fly to Indonesia to visit Dan on Uhuru, so I'm sort of pushing myself a little bit to get to Australia so that I can make that plane ticket. So do I just leave my boat in the Solomons and fly from here? And there aren't really any great places to leave it in the Solomons that I would feel comfortable with. In addition, then I still have to do the passage when I get back, and I have an even smaller time window to make that happen. So basically, I'm just gonna leave, and I've talked to a lot of people, and they say that the Louisades, which are between the Solomons and Australia, are an amazing place to stop over. Then I can get sort of 2 weather window chunks, so one to get me to the Louisades, and then one to get me from the Louisades to Townsville, which is where I'm sailing to clear in. I cleared out this morning, super simple, easy procedure. The guys on Uhuru cleared out 2 weeks ago, and they said the customs people come on board and they were trying to get them to give them t-shirts or towels or food or like make up all these rules so that they would have to get stuff. So I refused to go on the dock, and I offered to row them out to my boat in the rowboat, which they refused, so I didn't have to go through that process. We just cleared out on the wharf. And now I'm off. There are some fads out here, those fish devices, which is kind of scary because it's getting dark, but I'm hoping that as I get further away from shore, I stop seeing them. And that's all I can hope for because I can't stand on the bow with the spotlight all night. So I'm just gonna hope that luck is on my side and enjoy this beautiful sunset and this beautiful first night out and see what tomorrow brings. Okay, here's why it's so hard to sleep at sea unless you're exhausted. I'm just gonna lie here as though I was sleeping, and you will see how much my body is moving. Okay, also you'll see that the camera can't even stay upright. This is day 2 of my passage, and this has been pretty cool because I have about 1.5 knots of current with me, which means that I can have slightly reduced sail and I don't have to get up as much at night for squalls or pay as much attention to weather changes. It's been pretty relaxing so far, which is quite the treat. You know, every passage has a slightly different flavor. Some are about enduring, some are about delighting, and then some are just about existing. And I've had a lot of endurance passages lately, and this one is more about existing, and this isn't a negative thing. I'm just kind of, I don't know, I'm not lying outside in the sun going, oh my god, this is amazing, and nor am I lying down below trying to, you know, put my mind somewhere else. letting everything that I've been thinking about and worrying about just kind of go away. I spent the past 10 days pretty isolated in the Solomons after Uhuru left, waiting for this weather window. I've spent a lot of time talking on the phone, trying to figure out when to leave, because this has been a really tricky weather window, and I felt like a large part of my mind hasn't been present. It's been tied up in all these other things. And now I'm just here at sea doing my thing with no one but myself to think about, no one's opinions to listen to. And as much as that was a lifeline when I was on shore, when I'm at sea, it becomes this really nice thing that I can just kind of get away from it all. Well, it's the end of my second full day out. Tomorrow I'll be getting in. I'm pretty nervous about coming into my first village alone. Before, I've always had the protection of Uhuru or another buddy boat, and I just feel very vulnerable being alone on the deck. And if I had any other choice, I don't think I would have sort of braved this option, but it's really the only way that I can get to Australia this early in the season, because there isn't going to be a weather window that's good enough for me to get over there. And it's probably going to be fine. It's just been easy sailing because I don't have to put up as much sail to go the speed I want to go. That means that I'm not just constantly dealing with the sails. And what it's made me realize is that, sure, I can average 100+ mile days on the deck, but for me that means really powering up my boat, whereas people with bigger boats who are doing 100-mile days are probably just chilling the way I'm chilling now with this extra gift of a knot from the current gods, instead of always being right on the edge of having to do a sail change. I just think. But anyway, interesting perspective. It's day 2 out here at sea, and I've woken up in the lee of the Louisades, which means that the wind is still strong, but the seas are way down. It's basically flat, and it just feels amazing after getting kicked around for the last 2 days. I have some pretty big decisions to make today. I'm deciding whether I'm going to stop over in the Louisades or keep going, so I'm texting up a storm with my mom on the little Garmin inReach, trying to get the best picture of what it looks like out there. So this is some of the Garmin conversation that I was having with my mom. The hard part was that I couldn't see the weather. I can get one GPS point and get the weather at that point, but that doesn't really work well for an ocean crossing because you need to know a little bit more about the weather trends than just weather at one specific point. Plus, each time I get weather, it counts as a text message, and I only get 40. So my mom was doing her best to share with me what was happening over the 140 character texts, and I was using just that very small amount of information to try to make a decision. It's the opposite of everything we saw together on Windy, so I'm very confused. I like the idea of not stopping in Louisades, but not the rough seas. Very confusing, not sure what to do. And she's just saying these are what the bad days are. Sunday, Monday, Friday, Saturday. Just trying to figure out if I should push through those bad days to get to the better days or not. Eventually, I decided to keep going and push through the bad weather and just see what happened. I'm breaking my no coffee at sea rule in favor of enjoying today because I think it's going to be the only nice day of the next 6.5, 7 days of this passage. So I'm going to have my coffee, sit outside, maybe make some cookies. Yeah, I don't know. Just live a little, man, before it gets terrible and scary and wet. So the reason I decided to push through was that it didn't seem like there was going to be a better weather window. Even if I waited around a week in the Louisades, I'd potentially get stuck there for quite a while. And the weather was showing a lot of days with wind in the 30s, a lot of 3 to 4 meter seas, and not really going away. So the fear was that I would get to the Louisades, stop, and then not be able to keep going, or just wait a week and then go into the same sort of nasty weather that I was already facing. And since I was already in the passage mode, I decided I'd just keep going and just risk it and see what happened. And my amazing family was behind me, as they usually are, encouraging me to do what I felt was right. The jury-rigged repair on my hatch dog seems to be holding. All hail vice grips. These hatch dogs are so important because the hatch leaks without them, and it broke right before I left. So the first squall just passed. It cleared up and I could see a little atoll and looks like a clearing and signs of civilization, and I just got this ache inside of me because it's so nice and flat and protected, and I was like, I don't want to go out in that. I don't want to go get my ass handed to me. I would rather just stay here, but yeah, that's not an option. So out we go into the storm. So this is where I am now, passing between these two things, reefs. It's all quite reefy in here, but this is sort of, doesn't like it when it's wet. This is my line, and then I'm going to follow along this way. There we go. Oh, it's really hard when the bag is wet. And then this is the pass I was talking about. This is 8 miles long and about 5 miles wide, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was the best one I could choose because it was the widest and the deepest, but I'm still nervous for that part, and I think it's going to be sunset right when I get to the pass, so I won't even be able to see what is coming my way, which is kind of scary. As I neared the pass, the wind started to pick up until it was blowing in the mid to high 30s. The pass is scary because basically the entire Pacific Ocean kind of wind and waves funnel up through this really narrow gap. And as with any passes, you never really know what you're going to get until you arrive there. Now this one is very wide and very deep. It's a couple miles wide and 8 miles long, and ships go through it, but I still don't really know what I'm going to get, and I'm slowly going to start getting out of the lee of the Louisades. Right now the reef is protecting me from the biggest waves, but I think they're over 4 meters out there. I'm certainly getting the wind because the reef doesn't stop that, but I just don't know what is waiting for me once I actually get out there. I went forward to reduce sail even more until I was sailing with just a triple reefed main and the storm jib, which did help things a bit, just to feel slightly more calm. But when the wind is building like that and it's building really fast, it's scary because you don't know when it's gonna stop building. I just put up the storm jib instead of the working jib, and now things have chilled out again. I'm sort of toying with taking out the third reef and putting in the second, but I'm not really sure because some of these gusts are pretty crazy. I don't know if you can hear the wind through the camera, but it's pretty windy. Oh yes, this is my new technology that I'm using to hold my hood closed because I'm just very sunburned everywhere on my body, and I'm trying to cover up as much as I can. I'm really nervous for this pass. I have 7.5 miles until I get to it, and I've never been nervous. Well, actually, probably my first few Tuamotus passes I was nervous for. But this one, I don't know. I mean, it's blowing 30 and there's huge seas outside, and I just don't know what I'll do if I can't get out it. And I don't know if I'll be able to stop once I start it. And it's 8 miles long, so it's not like it's just a grit your teeth and bear it. Like, I've been in some of those situations in the Tuamotus, but it's usually over pretty fast. So yeah, at least I'm getting used to the wind while there's still relatively small waves. That's making a big difference. I don't know. I just want to get there and see what it is, and then I can relax into it, but it's this waiting, like this entire day of sailing towards it that's just killing me. So the sunset about half an hour ago, and I'm just getting into the pass. I just rounded the corner and I have about 9.5 miles of pass. This is the really intense part because I'm not sure, you know, the waves are building, they're starting to break now. and I'm not really sure how much worse it's gonna get because sometimes passes can be really bad. So I'm sitting out in the cockpit trying to distract myself with a podcast and keeping an eye on the waves. There's a little bit of a moon. I think it's almost a half moon, so it'll be around for the first couple hours. So it'll be light enough to see the waves as I come out of the pass. Anyway, just thought I would come report that. Now I'm gonna go back and obsess. Shit's getting real out there. I have 2 reefs in the main and the storm jib up, and it's nice to know that I have that 3rd reef if I need it, like I have somewhere to go. There was a period when I had the 3rd reef and the storm jib, and then I felt kind of stuck because if the wind got stronger, then I'm looking at striking one of those 2 sails. Things seem like they're holding pretty steady so far. Every now and then there'll be this massive thump as I just smash into a wave, or like a big sploosh as a wave smashes into the cockpit. But for the most part, we're kind of just climbing each wave. I'm eating one of my favorite at-sea treats, which is mandarin segments in syrup. These things are so delicious. And the best part is that I just eat them out of the can with my fingers, and I drink the syrup with my mouth out of the can. Man, I should be sleeping, but I feel like I need some of these things first. Ugh. It's so rolly down below. My alarm clock this morning was a giant wave crashing over my entire boat and smashing into the cockpit. It's actually draining pretty well, I'm pleased to say. I was a little bit scared because this is my fear about seas this big, that they'll just fill the cockpit and it won't ever drain, but not that much actually ended up getting in, and it's all going out pretty well, so that's good. Last night was pretty wild. There's some pretty big waves out here. Strong wind. Same.
Well, I've been down so long that my mind can't get no rest. I've been down so long that my mind can't get no rest. No, this ain't easy, darling, 'cause the devil's on my trail. I've been running so long that my feet don't work no more.
So last night, a very surreal and mildly terrifying thing happened to me. I almost hit a ship, and the scary thing is that my AIS alarm did not go off. So I was sort of freshly out of the channel, in the shipping lane, still couldn't get out of it because the wind was just pushing me into it as close hauled as I could be. I was basically sailing straight in the shipping channel. I woke up because my boat rounded up, and I thought what happened was that the wind vane sort of messed up, because it does that sometimes, and it puts me head to wind, and what I need to do is run outside and grab the tiller and get myself back on course. And that was scary in itself, because you don't want to be messing around with that stuff when it's blowing 35, because your boat can, once it rounds up, then it rounds way down again, and then you just get like close hauled sails with beam reach wind and waves, and it was just like scary. So I just ran out of bed, ran up on deck, was thinking I need to grab the tiller to get myself back on course, and I looked, and all I could see was just a block of bright lights. And what had happened was that this ship was so close to me that it completely shadowed 35 knots of wind from my sails, and that was when the boat went upright. And I looked at the AIS, and this is like such a dream sequence, but I swear to God it happened. As soon as I looked at it, it started beeping. So something happened with the AIS, and it didn't go off for that ship. And it was just so disorienting, because I wasn't expecting to wake up to almost hitting a ship. I went back on course, and the ship kind of, I don't even think they ever noticed me. Like, my VHF was on, channel 16. They could have hailed me if they had seen me, but they clearly didn't. And if I had been another 50 feet over, I would have run smack into them. Because I felt like I was dreaming the whole time, it hasn't really spooked me. But I feel like it should, and so I keep trying to dig in myself and find the fear, but it's not there. It just feels like I had a really strange dream. Behold, my newest invention, the slanty table, which makes up for the slant of the boat so that you can put a cup of something down without it slopping over the edge. Ooh. I'm passing between two cargo ships right now. This is wild. I got blown a bit off course last night and ended up in a shipping lane. This morning I got up and I was able to alter course very slightly. I am getting out of the shipping lane, but it's pretty intense. I just had to call one of the ships to alter course, and the other one I altered course for, which put me in the path of the one who had altered the course for me. So I'm really excited to get out of the shipping lane. You know, I was worried about this sail being boring, but it's got a lot going on. I can smell the cargo ship, and it's like my nose is just excitedly seeking out that smell of anything that's not all the smells that I've been smelling for the past 5 days. These are just big waves. Stack of waves. Well, it's the end of day 5. The seas are calming down and the wind is calming down. It's funny, I put up the working jib today and triple reefed the main, because I had one reef in the main and the storm jib, and I was a little underpowered, but with 3 reefs and the working jib, I'm feeling a little, it's like perfectly powered, but I usually like to underpower a bit at night, but I don't really have anywhere to go with this setup. And I feel like full main and storm jib is just really not very nicely balanced. So I'm gonna try to see how this goes. I'm not really sure if the wind is gonna drop anymore, but I do know that this slowly drop for the next 24 hours, and then the next 2 days should be really nice. So I'm hoping the wind kind of comes down with them. I need to stay relatively powered up because I'm just shy of close hauled, and I need to make that tack angle. As the waves died down, I managed to make a slightly better tack angle and get out of the shipping lane, which was awesome. So this morning I encountered 2 ships at the same time and then 1 fishing boat, and over the last 3 hours there's been nothing. I'm about 6 miles out of the shipping lane, and I'm gonna continue slightly parallel to the shipping lane, but maybe 15 miles out from it, and then hopefully just to not encounter as much ship traffic. The entire day today I kept saying to myself, did that really happen last night? Did I almost hit another boat? And it happened. It's wild. I mean, the only reason I woke up was because the ship was so close to me that it blocked the wind from my sails and I rounded up. I mean, I was half asleep and very exhausted, but I was probably 50 feet from it. It was wild. I don't know why the AIS alarm didn't go off, but for some reason I keep saying it over and over again in my head that it happened, just because I don't want it to, I don't know. Like, it hasn't hit me yet. Aldous Huxley wrote a book called The Island, where when people experience traumatic events, instead of trying to ignore them, they repeat it to themselves over and over again to sort of accept it and move on and not have it remain this little hidden corner of themselves. And I think part of me is doing that, Aldous Huxleying this ship encounter. But looking back on it, I was thinking about it, and I had the VHF on 16, so if anyone was awake on that ship, they would have either A, altered course, or B, hailed me, one would think, but they didn't, so they obviously didn't know either. Like, I came 50 feet away from losing my boat, potentially dying. Okay, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. It's fucked up. Day 6 out here. I have been doing a lot of sleeping today. Last night the wind really kicked up and the waves really kicked up and it all got really intense. Day 7, the seas are way down, they're a bit steeper and the wind is just still howling per usual. Day 9, wind 20 to 25, seas just a way better chop, lad. Land ho! Good morning from Australia! Thanks for watching this week's episode. It was a fun one to edit, kind of intense at times, and definitely brought me back. I'm very happy that I'm not on that passage anymore. Thank you guys for your comments. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about this passage, and thank you so much to my patrons who are supporting me and making this trip possible. If you'd like to become a patron, my Patreon is patreon.com/windhippie, and for one-time donations, I have a PayPal, paypal.me/windhippie. As you guys know, my videos lag a bit behind real time, so as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this footage is from September when I left the Solomons, and right now I've just finished up a big month-and-a-half period of working on the Gek, getting her ready for my coming sailing season, which is up to Indo and beyond. So if anyone is able to help donate some money towards that renovation, I did a haul out. Unfortunately, when the boat was hauled out of the water, the power washing washed a lot of big chunks of gel coat off, so I had to fare the whole bottom again, like what I did in Polynesia 2 years ago. Had to drop the rudder, which meant drilling holes in the skeg to get to the bolts. Got some more solar so that I can charge my laptop more efficiently, so I can keep doing edits to bring those to you guys. And just a bunch of little things that broke or needed to be replaced. It's been a bit of an expensive past 2 months, and as always, I appreciate your contributions so that I can continue making content and sailing on a boat that is relatively seaworthy. And of course I filmed everything that I did, so in the next month or two, those episodes will be going live, so you'll be able to see all the work that is happening on the little El Specco. Thank you, Tish, for helping me remember when I need to make another edit and putting these videos online. And if you'd like some merchandise, I have a page for that too. It's all in the description below. Check out all the stuff down there. And I think that's all. Patrons, I'll see you guys next week with one of our special little snacks. And everyone else, I'll see you on YouTube for the second half of this episode and me arriving in Australia and the clearance procedures, etc., etc. Toodaloo.